I'm Lauren Eagan, founder and CEO of Eagan Immigration, and I am here to answer all of your questions about immigration in the United States. Today we're going to talk about what it means when you have a case that is in actively reviewed status on the immigration website, the USCIS website, but it's been like that for months. What does that really mean? What does it actually mean when it says that your case is being actively reviewed? Well, USCIS changes the status to actively reviewed when an officer has your file. But this does not mean that they are constantly reviewing your file. It just means that it's in their possession, it's in their office, it's on their bookshelf, it's on their desk. Not that they've opened it to start reviewing it yet. Many times this message that you get or this notification is automatic and the file hasn't even moved. So it's exciting to get that notification, but it doesn't mean things are going to happen fast necessarily. Second point, how much time is normal? Is it normal to be in this phase? Again, some cases might take weeks, some might take months, some might even be in that phase for years. The amount of time varies depending on the type of application, the local office where it's being reviewed, and the amount of work that's involved in reviewing that case. Point number 3, why does it take so long sometimes to be in active review or in review stage? Well, USCIS has a really high volume of cases, but they do not have enough officers to review all of them. So we're constantly getting into a backlog that is just getting longer and longer as time goes on. What we really need is more officials or more officers, and that will get our cases moving faster. But unfortunately right now there is that backlog due to a limited amount of resources, a limited amount of officers. Some cases also require additional review. So that might be additional security review. When you give your fingerprints, they might need to get additional information, or it might mean that you need a supervisor's review. So maybe the officer reviewing your case is newer or less experienced, or maybe they don't normally work on that type of case and they're being trained. Sometimes in that case, the officer will do an initial review and then it will get escalated to supervisory review. It can take a long time there too. There definitely aren't as many supervisors as there are officials on the ground. So it might have been reviewed by an officer, but it's stuck in a supervisory review. Point number 4, why might you receive a request for evidence or an RFE after a lot of time in active review? Well, this is pretty common. It's pretty common to get an RFE. It's common to get an RFE after being in active review for months. That is partly because even if it's in active review, it might not be being actively reviewed. It's sitting on a desk, it's sitting on a bookshelf. It's not being opened and reviewed by the officer. It also just means that the officer is finally reviewing it and sees, oh, okay, I'm missing this document, or I need more information about this point, or there were some recent changes in the law, so I need to make sure that this applicant still complies. It's not necessarily a bad thing to get an RFE. What it really means is the officer needs something additional to approve your case, and so they're asking for it. And if you have it, excellent. You are giving them what they need to approve the case. And sometimes that happens after months in active review because the officer is finally actually getting to the review of your case. Point number 5, what can you do if it has been way too much time? All right, first, you should check the processing times on the USCIS website. That is uscis.gov, G-O-V. Once you go in there, you can enter the type of form that it is and the office where it was filed or where it's being reviewed, and that will give you an idea of how long those cases are taking. You might get in there thinking you're like way behind, way out of processing times, and then find out, oh, actually they're just super backlogged at this location and my case is within normal processing times. If that happens, there's not much you can do except for wait, because immigration is clearly telling you, hey, it's taking us 3 years to review this type of case. And it's only been 2 years for you, so sorry, but you just have to wait. However, there might be times where you get in there and it's taking 3 years and you've been waiting for 4 years or 5 years. In that case, you can do a few things. You can request an update from USCIS to figure out what's going on in your case. You can contact USCIS or the ombudsman's office. The ombudsman kind of acts as a liaison between agencies. You can also consult with a lawyer to talk about filing a mandamus. A mandamus is essentially a lawsuit against the government, in this case, USCIS, and we are requesting in this mandamus that they make a decision on the case. Sometimes I have people come to me that say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to piss off USCIS and then have them deny my case. It doesn't work that way. They don't get upset. It doesn't affect the decision of your case, and it's even like there's protections against that. It simply forces them to make a decision. So that can be a strategy, especially in a strong case. That's a strategy we like to use a lot. If it's a weaker case, sometimes it's helpful to just let the case languish for a bit longer so that our client has more time in the United States before a potential denial. So it's a strategic decision, but it is something that you can do if your case is taking a long time. All right, I hope that helps answer the question about what it means when your case is placed in active status, but it's still taking forever to process. As always, if you have any questions, you can contact my office. The number is 202-709-6439. Thank you, and until next time.